हेलो सो गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन। वापिस हम आ गए हैं आपसे मिलने। हाउ आर यू ऑल? होप ऑल आर सेफ। सो टुडे आर कमिंग विद एन अनदर टॉपिक, positive effects of education. And our guest speaker is Nisha Chakravorty from Bangalore. She is an educationalist, teacher's trainer. Good evening, everyone. वापिस हम आ गए हैं आपसे मिलने। How are you all? Hope all are safe. She is educationist, teachers, trainer, special need. And our guest speaker is Nisha Chakravorty from Bangalore. Good evening. She is the educationist. वापिस हम आ गए हैं आपसे मिलने। How are you all? Hope all are safe. So today I'm coming with another topic, positive effects of education. And our guest counselor, social achiever, and founder and director of Kriya Early Learning Center. So please welcome Nisha ma'am, and stage is yours.
Thank you, Shraddha. Thank you very much. And good evening to one and all who's watching us here today. So, I have been given the topic to speak about positive effects of education. And I would like to thank Shraddha for motivating me to speak about this. So, I would like to start with one story which, came across during my childhood and until I opened my school. So it was like that when I was in grade 6 or 7, if I faintly remember. It was on seventh. I saw a girl standing, in front of the school gate every day and would be asking or begging for money. So one day I went ahead and spoke to her, and I said, "Why don't you come and learn from me something? I would like to teach you." So she gladly appreciated and she said, "I would like to come, but I wanted some food every day, which I'm unable to actually get it every day because my father is a daily wager." So since then, I started with the social work, and I would love to proclaim that here to everyone, each little one and the old one here. I would always come up with a tagline telling this: आपके जिंदगी में आप किसी को अगर एजुकेट कर दें, किसी को कुछ पढ़ा दें, तो आपका जिंदगी सफल हो जाए। सो हम हमारे देशवासियों से एक ही निवेदन है कि हर एक भारतवासी को ये सोचना चाहिए कि अगर हम पढ़ चुके हैं तो हमारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होती है कि किसी एक बच्चे को हम पढ़ा लें, या किसी एक लेडी जो है उनको पढ़ा ले जो अभी तक एजुकेशन नहीं मिला है जिनको। सो माय टैगलाइन इज Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. So I always talk about women empowerment. So since Shraddha came and told me about to talk about the positive effect of the education, so I would not take the entire system. I would take each individual has the responsibility as a citizen of a country to take care that if you are educated, you are fortunate enough to get education, and your parents are supporting, and you're from affluent family, you get you get the choice of getting education. People are supporting you to take a vow that once you are educated, you would adopt one child and try to educate the child and see them growing and do something good for them. So when you talk about education in a whole, um, education is nothing but sharing your knowledge to the other person and bring them to a level where they can achieve something and they can earn some livelihood for themselves. So I would like to share a screen with you all. I had made some slides, uh, so which I'll share with you all, and let's see what that says. Yeah. So I hope you can see the screen here. So I had, picked up few lines about education. So education is one of the most important investments a country can make in its future. Education is a powerful agent of change and improves health and livelihood, contributes to social stability, and drives long-term economic growth. So since I told I run my schools, and another story comes up in my life, that is a lifetime achievement for me as an educator, is uh, one of my branches, I run in Bangalore. So there's a lady who comes up with two children holding both of hands, two children, and with a little dusty dress, and she stands near my premises, and she would look at me and say, "Ma'am, मुझे आपसे बात करनी है." तो I said, "Yeah, of course, आप मुझसे बात कर सकते हो." She came up to me and she said, "Madam, मैंने पढ़ाई लिखाई नहीं की है, but मैं आपको रोज देखती हूँ, आप यहाँ खड़े होकर के बच्चों से बातें करते हो और गाना गाते हो, बहुत सारी इंग्लिश में बातें करती हो, तो मुझे बहुत पसंद है कि मेरे बच्चे भी पढ़े, बच हमारी हिम्मत नहीं हुई आपके पास आने के लिए क्योंकि हमारे पास पैसे नहीं है." And what she does next is she opens up her fist, and she has 500 rupees note in her hand, and she, with a shaking hand, she says, मेरी दो बेटियां हैं और मुझे पढ़ने नहीं दिया गया, और मैं पढ़ना लिखना चाहती हूँ, और इसी चाहत के चलते मैं आपके पास में आई हूँ, अगर आप मेरे बच्चों को इंग्लिश में पढ़ा दें. And that was when I was really shaken up, thinking, what am I doing? Like, I shouldn't be commercial. So I told, I would not take her name, but she's very close to my heart. And she would always come up and tells me, like, "Aap mujhe bhi padha de, because main bhi chahti kuch padh likh lo." And I would proudly say that, since that day, today, the girl is in class 7, and she speaks the best English what our children speak. So that's what is my achievement. And I'm a proud citizen of India. And मुझे लगता है कि मैंने अपना काम किया है, और मैं सभी से निवेदन करती हूँ कि सभी लोग एक एक बच्चे को अडॉप्ट करें, और अगर आप में वो पढ़ाई लिखाई की क्षमता है तो दूसरों को भी सक्षम बनाएं. So मैं नेक्स्ट स्लाइड की तरफ बढ़ूंगी. My next slide says the word education is derived from the Latin word educere, which means bring up, which is related to educere, which means bring out. Bring forth what is within, bring out potential, and decere, to lead. So education is not only brings up your talent, brings up the positivity and the kind of confidence in a person. This education gives a lot of enthusiasm and excitement and the confidence in a person who can relate a lot of things around around them and to others also, and which is also related to edushare, where you bring out the things, you bring up the things, you learn, you enlighten yourself, and then you bring out whatever you have learned and bring forth what is there with you. So you get the knowledge, you enlighten yourself, you bring that out, you execute, and then you bring forth whatever within you it is there, and the potential what you have to lead, anything what you take up. And I would like to give an example. If I'm running a school, I'm leading a school. When I'm going for I'm a social entrepreneur. So what I do is I lead the village. So I have adopted the village where I train the students there. So I'm leading and I'm making the people to come up with the knowledge whatever they have, and also merge it with the knowledge what they are getting from the outside, and bring it out, and also lead it, the knowledge whatever you have with. The next slide says, in its technical sense, education is a process which society deliberately transmits its accumulated knowledge, skills, and values from one generation to another. Education comes from the Latin word educere, which means to lead out. It says again, education brings such a lot of confidence in you that you are capable of leading whichever thing you are good at. I would like to also talk about the history of education. So education's history is, long back, which has started when we talk about. So education began in prehistory as adults trained that young in the knowledge and skills deems necessary in their society. In pre-literal societies, This was achieved orally and through imitation. So it has been always told child learns by following us. So when the child is born and they are 3 years age old, when they start speaking, they follow us. Whatever we speak, they try to imitate and they follow us. We are very happy when the child acts like an adult after seeing us. So we say, hey, look at that. वो बच्चा देखो कितना अच्छे से बोल रहा है, मैंने जो बोला वो बोला. It's all about imitation. They imitate us. So they learn by doing it and imitating. It's been there from prehistory. And it's also, told long back, storytelling passed knowledge, values, and skill from one generation to the next. As cultures began to extend their knowledge beyond skills that could be readily learned through imitation, formal education developed. Schools existed in Egypt at the time of the Middle Kingdom. So when you're talking about across the globe, so we are talking about positive effects of education in general, about world as a whole. So education was then also, it was there, but it was not technically enhanced. But now it's a good blend in 21st century. It's a good blend of technology. But we cannot say that education was not existing then also. It was existing then and it is there here now also it is there. But that time it was free for all. Now, when we come back to this era, the education has become little expensive. It is not reaching out. There is a lot of disparity we could see. So when you talk about the positive effects of the education, you have to balance the country as a whole in education system. When you see you are living in a place where you are being affluent family and you can send your kids, the next door village of yours, you can see a huge disparity. Since I'm a social entrepreneur, I have adopted a village and I can see huge disparity in the education, like whatever the children of us we have and the other children, what they are having. So we have taken the responsibility. We cannot take responsibility as a whole for world, but if you can take 1%, of that part also, it is a huge thing what you can do for your country for education. So we will come to our country. I love my country. Everyone loves, everyone does that. So India has always been revered as a land of learning. From ancient science to art, philosophy, and literature, the country has always been a destination for learners from all over the world. So when I talk about then and now, then those days, education was equal to everyone. Yes, there were few things which I would not like to bring it out, but it was there. It was free. It was free. But now it is actually it's expensive. Yes, now we have to talk about the education of our country. Now the citizens will have to come forward, the educated girls and boys. If I can take up, when I was in grade 7, take up the responsibility of teaching that girl child who was standing near the gate of my school, I would suggest all the young children and the young parents, to come up and train the children in such a way, make them learn giving in the sense not money, not dress, not materials. You can also give the knowledge what you have. You can share your knowledge what you have. Since India has been always regarded a country, a land of learning, so learning has got equal rights for everyone. Everyone has the equal rights on learning, rather, if you can tell in this way. So when you talk about the prime important task of mine was today given by Shraddha was to talk about positive effects of education. Yes, if you think about education and the positive effect, education itself motivates you and gives you such a confidence where you stand upright to talk in front of the group. I have seen many people, when here in our country, I have seen those who cannot speak in English, जो इंग्लिश में बातें नहीं कर पाते हैं, उनको दूसरे तरीके से देखा जाता है, which is not good. Having knowledge, language should not be a bar. So those people have various media to learn the language skills. So developing the skills equally with education is very, very important. So positive effects of education in general, when I talk about it, raises people's productivity, creativity, promotes entrepreneurship, reduces the age gender gap, and reduces the criminal activities. And in addition, it plays very crucial role securing economic and social progress and improving income distribution also. So positive effects can be in a huge way. If you talk about, there are many positive effects of the education and as a whole. So now it depends upon how one country takes education as. So here I'm not going to have any debate on that. I always have the debate on this with me as an individual. I would not like to debate with others talking about, hey, you have not done, hey, you have not done. I would always try to debate with me as an individual, as an educationist, as a learned person. What is my responsibility? Have I taken the responsibility positively, and am I doing enough for that? And also, only being education is the responsibility is not getting over to train a handful children, but then preparing many people like me who can drive, lead, bring up, enlighten the mind of the people those are looking for with the education system. So there is a huge disparity because the children from the group, the village, when they come, their priority is food, which I have seen. So I would like to add a few things here. So the last week, when we every week I go to the village to train them and give them stationaries and all. So I talk to those people. I talk to mothers. I talk to pregnant ladies. I talk to 10th grade students why they have left the school. So their priority is food. They don't get enough food. How will they go for the studies? Okay. And if they have the schools in and around, there is no motivation for them to go to school because mothers are working for daily wages in other houses, and these kids cannot go because they have to do the household work. It's a pathetic situation what we come across. We as a team, we are trying enough to, I don't know whether it is enough, but yes, we are trying to do it here. Everyone who's listening to me, I would like to motivate and talk to them about it. Please take a responsibility, take up the responsibility of teaching at least one child in your lifetime rather than giving them money. Take out 10 minutes or half an hour from your time. I know you all go for movies and all. There are a lot of entertaining things, there. If you do today, tomorrow, the country will be better. So we talk about, because I'm an Indian, I would always talk about my country, what I know how we are doing. So I would always try to counsel my students, my children also. Pick up one responsibility, and the greatest responsibility what you can take is, please educate a person who is really in need of that. That's very important. So when you talk about positive effects of education, there are many, but how are we distributing the effects are very important. One sector of group are definitely getting the cream of um, all the things, all the positive things, and the other area it doesn't reach. So that's when the interference comes in between, and the disparity comes. So which some people, some good Samaritans have taken it up, and they are actually trying to balance in other way. So I'll give you some points when I'm talking about the positive effects. Yes, it does. So number one is empowerment of women. So most of the ladies, those who are homemakers and all, I keep motivating them, and I'm training them for teachers training. I do run my teachers training academy, so I give them free training so that they can empower themselves. If they're not going for school to teach, at least they learn for themselves tomorrow so that they can teach their own children. Yeah. The second part, when you talk about decreases poverty, so how does it decrease poverty? When you talk about, you can question me that, how do you think education can reduce the poverty? Yes, we do have some other darker side also. If everyone is educated enough, they have certificates, they wouldn't get the jobs because there is not enough job vacancies are there. So there it has dual effect if you talk about decreases poverty. But yes, to some extent we can bring them up, and we can give some kind of jobs, where they can at least earn their daily food. That we are doing as a group of people, and there are a lot of people around. I am sure in our country there are a lot of good people, those who are doing it here, and we want more people to come forward and do this here. Number three, promotes health. How does it promote health? Yes, of course, it promotes health, because if you're ignorant about your health, when will you be ignorant about your health? Because when the doctor tells you something, you wouldn't understand because you're not able to understand the terminologies. You can't read the basic prescription when you go and take the medicines from the medical shops, because the doctor would explain once to them, the medical person, the medicine giver will explain once to them, but they wouldn't understand it is to be given twice daily or once daily, and what is the part of it, how long it has to be given, every day monitoring if the medicine has to be taken with 2 glasses of water or 1 glass of water. So all these things definitely, if you are educated, you are far more intelligent to talk about and take care of the things. So education, if you're talking about promoting health, basic education where each one of us in our country should be able to read minimum things, what kind of medicine it has been written, and when the pharmacy people are talking about number one medicine has to be given for this, number two medicine has to be given for this, and how many hours gap has to be kept, all these things can be learned if your basic education is very clear, and you know how to read and write, not pages, but yes, to read the basic things, which is very, very important. The fourth one is closes the gender gap. You would ask me what is a close, about gender gap. So like we when we talk about equality, so the jobs, when you go for the jobs, we would always see more of the percentage of boys. Especially I have seen, when you talk about other sector of our country, the boys are being given the facility, because when the day I went to distribute the stationaries, I would always see only boys are coming and picking up the stationaries for themselves. But I went each doorsteps and I called out the girls and I started distributing, and I tell why the girls are not coming. So when the people, those who are educated like me, you, the people, those who are there, we are supposed to be counseling and promoting the children and telling that there should be equality, the girls should be given equal job, equal salary. So then only the gender gap will be closes. So how it is happening, each person has to be educated enough and counseled enough to think about both has the similar brains, let them use it. Okay, so education always gives the positive effect of closing the gender gap. Now, minimizing malnutrition, when you talk about, again, when we talk about food part, the hygiene, food and hygiene, this is a vast chapter. When you talk about, you can see mostly in the other part, people are mostly malnourished, they don't know, first of all they don't get food, and when they go to buy, even though they have money, if they go to buy, they don't know what is the right food to be eaten, right? So there are many things which I'm not going to explain here, since we are talking about the positive effects. Now, decreases crime rate, you know it, how it decreases crime rate. If any person is educated, minimum job they can get, so they can learn, earn their livelihood. Everything starts from the stomach. If you're hungry, this hunger gives rise to lot of other negativities around you. So yes, when a person or the entire village or entire town or entire city is being educated, the crime rate obviously is going to be very down right there, because everyone has enough, handful to eat and earn their own livelihood. So when you talk about seventh, provides economic growth. So economic growth of an individual, to the group, to the village, to the town, then to the country. So each individual is responsible for the growth and development of their own country. So how much we are contributing our knowledge, our you know um, knowledge and enlightenment for the growth and development of our country, it depends upon each individual, how much you want to share and contribute for the economic growth of your country, is lies on each individual. So this is it. So I hope when you talk about, mostly you will tell this, I've been talking about, social work and all. No, if you talk about positive effects, each person has to be contributing from their end for the positive effects of the education. Any person, the maid who comes to you, I just talk to the maid and tell, what is your child doing? If it is there, can I help? So all these things will contribute to your positive effect of the education and education as a whole to the country. Thank you very much. I will come up with another topic if Shraddha talks about it. And that's it. Thank you very much.
थैंक यू मैम, थैंक यू जो आपने सारे टॉपिक्स हमको बताए। मुझे मेंशन करने हैं कुछ, दैट इज एजुकेशन वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट इन्वेस्टमेंट।
Yes,
ये बहुत ही बढ़िया चीज है जो लोगों को समझनी चाहिए। देन द
absolutely.
सेकेंड इज एजुकेशन रेज पीपल्स प्रोडक्टिव एंड क्रिएटिव।
Yes,
ये भी है, हाँ, ये जो आपने स्लाइड लगाई है, एजुकेशन रेज पीपल्स प्रोडक्टिविटी एंड क्रिएटिविटी।
right.
ये लोगों को ये वाली चीजों को भी समझना चाहिए कि एजुकेशन के साथ क्या क्या चीजें आप कर सकते हो। आप प्रोडक्टिव बनते ही हो, साथ में क्रिएटिव चीज भी आप करते हो, और आपका दोनों जगह कहीं से भी आपका आगे जाकर फ्यूचर स्टेब्लिश हो सकता है। देन द
Absolutely.
7 पॉइंट्स जो आपने बताए हैं, वो
Mhm.
तो हमें हमारी लाइफ में करने ही चाहिए, लोगों को लागू करने चाहिए। एक साथ सात मत करो, एक एक से शुरू करो, वन बाय वन
सही,
आप कीजिए, और इस तरीके से आप बहुत सारे लोगों की हेल्प कर पाएंगे।
एब्सोल्युटली,
तो
एब्सोल्युटली, ये
इसी के
बहुत
साथ मैं सब लोगों से बोलना चाहती हूँ, जो भी हमारे व्यूअर्स हैं, प्लीज अगर आप देख रहे हैं तो हमें, अगर आपके कुछ क्वेश्चंस है तो हमें लिख कर बताइए। हम निशा मैडम का वापस से एक और सेशन करवाएंगे। तो सो थैंक यू वेरी मच, थैंक यू ऑल ऑफ यू,
थैंक
नमस्ते एंड गुड नाइट।
यू, बाय।